Buongiorno, good morning. This is Lisa with Adventures with Sarah. I'm hijacking her page. Today we are on a tour in Puglia, and I wanted to just take a few minutes to show you where we are in Matera. And we were the local guide. His name is Giuseppe, and we are in an old cemetery. So I'm going to flip the phone, and you can enjoy hanging out with us for a few minutes.
The other one, if you want to walk, can you see the parking over there? Mm-hmm. Just a few meters before, you start to go down, you cross the Tibetan bridge, and you go up following the path. It's not so hard. In total, it's less than 2 kilometers and a half. But 2 or 3 recommendations. First of all, good shoes. Second, a bit of water with you. And the third one, don't do it after the sunset. Because if it's dark, first of all, you can't see your steps. And second, first as well, during the night, there are a lot of, how do you call them, wild boar.
Wild boar.
Oh, wow.
A lot of them. They taste good, but if they are with the babies,
You don't want to meet them with their babies.
Dangerous, yes. So here, as I told you before, we are in a cemetery. These are all graves. Why this? This is not the only necropolis in Matera. We have to go back to the Napoleon age, when there was a law to impose the construction of cemeteries outside of the cities. But at that age, they were inside. Of course, nobles and priests under the churches. All the rest where it was possible. But anyway, they tried to have these cemeteries next to a sacred place that, in this case, is under us. Down here, there's a Rupestian church with the ex-monastery connected to the church. This one is called Barbarian Cemetery because they think that the origin is during the Longobardian age. Why this? Because of these circular holes that you can see over here, for example. And they think that among the Longobardian there was this tradition to, when someone, died far away from the city, in a battle, for example. Of course, once it was impossible to have the body back. In that case, they put a wood pole over here, with on the top the head of a bird with the beak in the direction of the battlefield. And today, of course, they are empty and closed. But until 30 or 35 years ago, we could find here. And the same was next to the cathedral. Over there, you had just to jump to find bones and skulls and everything. Now, what do you think of this part of Caveroso? What's your opinion about it? Tell me.
Remember what I was talking about yesterday? A piece that's being left.
The oldest, the youngest, the poorest, everything. Yes, probably. So it seems, the oldest part. It's a paradox, but this one is the most modern part of Sassi. This is the last part that was inhabited. Why this? Because we are between 15th and 16th century, when in Matera, not only Matera, but in Matera as well, came some colonies of Serbian, Croatian and Albanian people, because they were escaping from the Ottoman Empire, from the Turkish. So they came here, and since this part, it's like a cliff. Over here, we have only caves. Maybe sometimes with a built part on the front, but these are all caves. But if you want to reconnect us to the period of the transfer, this part is by the state. But during the evacuation, they started from the worst conditions. Since over here there were only caves, this part was immediately evacuated. And the property was by the state. Yes.
Okay, so good morning to the very few people who are, it's the middle of the night for you. I'm going to just take you away here for 1 second to show you the beautiful Santa Maria dell'Idris church in the background. It just looks like a big rock But this is one of the oldest churches in Matera. There were a number of them. There's some old frescoes on the wall, but a number of them were taken away by a German archaeologist many years ago, literally strappati, torn off the walls. This is a method that was used to steal many frescoes all over Italy over time. Matera is really a fascinating city because it's been so constantly inhabited for so long. There was such an intense level of poverty here up until post-Second World War, and Carlo Levi wrote this book, Christ Stopped at Eboli. Eboli is a town along the, basically when you're leaving Campania and coming over into this area. We are in Basilicata, Italy, and only basically the roads were guarded, thieves and brigands would cross, but these people were very much abandoned to themselves. And of course there was a wealthy population here in Matera, but down here in the Sassi, or the stone houses, so many people were left to themselves. There was just basically a line that wasn't crossed, except that the church knew. And when Carlo Levi wrote his book, Christ Stopped at Eboli, he brought to attention the conditions in which these people were living in these stone houses where you had, families with 10, 12 people living together with their animals. The animals actually helped keep them warm, raw sewage flowing down the streets. And they were really moved out in the 1950s and 60s, and this became a place that was sort of taboo in Matera. You wouldn't come here. This was not a good part of town to come and hang out in. Only the really naughty people came here. And then really over the last 25 years or so, Matera has undergone this revival. A couple of people started moving in and restoring the Sassi, and there is now a really flourishing culture where we're trying to remember what life was like, and at the same time we don't have any idea because we can't smell the smells of the past, although we can see the visual images of how people lived. But hopefully we will never dip this far back into squalor in our lifetime. Anyway, we are moving on. This is our morning in Matera. I hope you are all having a great evening because you're probably ready to crash in the middle of the night. This is Lisa with Adventures with Sarah on our Basilica and Puglia tour. Ciao, buona giornata. Ciao, ciao. Bye, Janet.